This is the new TC Pride Podcast, Episode 6, Part 1 of on-location coverage of the Twin Cities Gay Men's Chorus. TC Pride Podcast live on location with the Twin Cities Gay Men's Chorus, beautiful downtown Minneapolis, U of M campus, and I am here with...
This is Ben Riggs. I'm the Artistic Director of Twin Cities Gay Men's Chorus. This is finishing up my fourth year conducting the chorus. I was the conductor of the Denver Gay Men's Chorus and for 5 years, and this position opened, and they graciously selected me to come be their new artistic director. We are just finishing up our concerts this weekend here in town, and we're about to travel in 2 weeks to Denver to participate in what's called the Gala Choruses Festival, and this is gay and lesbian, bi, trans choruses, allied choruses from around the country who are all part of Gala choruses. We'll have probably 7,000 singers all in one place. It's a really exciting event. It happens every 4 years. We're taking Two Boys Kissing, this new commission by Josh Schenk and David Levithan, to Denver, so we're really excited about that. And when we get back, we have a little break, and we start our 36th season next fall. We'll be doing our annual holiday concert in December. It's going to be a really fun like television variety show, if you remember some of those, with lots of guest stars and guest musicians and skits and jokes and wonderful songs. And then in the spring of next year, we're actually hosting Heartland Men's Chorus from Kansas City. They're a gay men's chorus in Kansas City. They're going to be coming here and joining us to sing a piece called Tyler Suite, which is in memory of Tyler Clementi, and the Tyler Clementi Foundation will be a part of that concert. And then we'll end the year next year. We're actually returning to the music of the Beatles. We're bringing all brand new arrangements of Beatles songs to celebrate Pride. All You Need Is Love, and the 50th anniversary of the Summer of Love next year, so we couldn't be happier.
Jerry Rubino. I'm the music director of Out Loud, which actually, I'll give you more information. I actually founded the group, I almost hate to admit it, but I'm proud of it, 30 years ago. I was the chorus pianist back in the 80s. And there came a point, and I am not exactly sure, I think it was 1984 or 5, and we started a small group. At that point, it was called Gentleman's Choice, and they have changed the name to Out Loud, but same group. And then the chamber singers have been here all along, so it's a solid, consistent organization. I don't know if it's the first one, but it is something that we've done every year. I live in a part of Golden Valley. There's just lots of men there who would, choose to go to Pride. So we do tend to all get together, and there's usually about 20, 25 of us in our herd, walking around. That's my Pride story. I mean, we just go in every year and celebrate, and, it kind of lumbers along, and people break off and hug people and talk and everything else. And we've been doing that for many, many years.
Alex McLean. I've been in the choir for about 4 years now, and I used to sing in high school and a little in college, and I was just kind of looking to get that music back in my life after I moved down here for work. So I knew there was a gay choir, so I just kind of Googled and found when they were auditioning, and the rest is history, I guess. My first Pride was when I was 22, and it was, so I was, just after I came out, I actually only went on Sunday for the parade. I went there with my straight friend Kyle, and we drove up, parked, watched the parade, and then went home. Next year I did a lot more. It was a lot more fun, but that was my first Pride, yes.
Anthony. Well, I one time just heard about the chorus when I was drunk at the saloon, and made a new friend that night, and he told me about it. Told me I should audition, and I did, and I've been in it for 3 years now. My first Pride was right after I moved to Minneapolis. It was right after college, and it was my first experience with that many gay people in one place.
David Fay. Oh gosh, I've been a fan for years and years and years, like almost 20 years, over 20 years actually. Yeah, and then I finally got up the courage to audition and join 4 years ago, so this is my fourth season. My first Pride, oh my gosh. So that would have been here in the Twin Cities. I moved up here after college in 1979. So I think it was that next summer. Yeah. Amazing to see how large our community is, right? When we're spread all over town, you don't get a sense of it, but I remember that was what blew me away, was just seeing everybody in one place. Amazing.
My name is Fran, and I'm with the Bridge for Youth. Sure. So the Bridge for Youth generally helps youth in crisis. We've been around since 1970, and so we have a lot of different programs. We have an emergency shelter for kids ages 10 to 17. We have transitional living for 16 and 17-year-olds where we teach them independent living skills and kind of just give them a place. It's about a year to 18 months kids can stay there. We have a couple different support groups. Something that's really cool that we recently launched is our text line. And so youth and families can text in 24/7 about absolutely anything. They can text in to talk. They can text in if they're looking for shelter, a food shelf, and we can kind of connect them with those resources. I believe it was probably 3 or 4 years ago, and I was ecstatic, and I freaked out because I was from a really small town where we weren't even allowed to have a GSA, and so to be there and be around all these people, I was probably in a daze the whole time. It was amazing. It was fun.
Alicia Olson. I'm the intern, volunteer, and youth response center manager at the Bridge for Youth. So really cool story. We actually ran into a former Bridge kid that happened to be a part of the chorus and came in one day and wanted to donate some tickets to us to one of their other shows. And my coworker and I, Fran, sat down with this chorus member and kind of talked about other ways that we can get involved. And this idea was sparked, and we're really excited to be here and make that a reality. I probably went to Pride my first time around 3 years ago, and I went with a lot of my friends and family, and so it was just nice to kind of be out and supporting, and it was a really good time.
Eric Anderson. Let's see, joined the course. For me, it was a conjunction with my actual coming out, and it provided a community and an opportunity for me to, I guess, a safe space for gay men that was presented as, hey, this is a place that can really help you with that process. I had a friend who I came out to first, and he was a sportsman, and he says, do you play softball? I said, no. Do you play volleyball? No. Sing in the chorus? Oh, I could do that. So that matched up well. But then when I joined, it became something much more and much bigger. It became a community outreach. It became a challenging aspect to myself to really stand up and be proud in very public situations where we're not normally being presented. So it evolved from there. So this is now my 7th year in the course. As far as Out Loud is a small audition-only ensemble within the course. There's another similar ensemble called the Chamber Singers, also audition smaller within there. The split between them is Chamber Singers is a classical repertoire, and Out Loud is more of a jazz, pop, sometimes with choreography, sometimes with fun movements as well. But it's another aspect of musical challenge that we like to bring, and it sort of almost acts as the shock troops for an outreach effect that comes up that the full chorus can't respond to quickly enough. It's nice to have the two smaller groups ensembles to respond quickly. So, for instance, like I think we just talked about earlier, is that we got to sing at the Golden Valley Pride. Out Loud was there. And that was a nice opportunity to be able to go there with a small and a representative group. Oh, my first Pride was actually with the chorus. So right away from my first Pride parade, I was marching in it, which was terrifying and awesome at the same time. So it was all kind of wrapped up into one. It was overwhelming. It was exciting. It was fun. And yeah, all of those things all wrapped up into one.
John Asbel Salisbury. Sure, I've been in the chorus for 10 years. I joined, this is the 35th anniversary season, and I joined on the 25th anniversary season, so that's really kind of fun. My first Pride, I think, was when I was in college, and I was living in Houston at the time. So I remember going to Houston Pride as a sophomore in college, and sort of hanging out with some friends on like the, back on the street, sort of like a little terrified of all the lesbians on bikes and leather daddies and stuff like that. And like, oh my, what is this brave new scary world that I'm now a part of?
Jared Poe. Well, I've known people who have been in it for a few years, so I've been to a few shows. And I think it's just a great way for everybody to come together and create this sense of community, especially now we need it. Most importantly, my first Pride, actually I'm from Texas, so Austin, Texas was my first Pride, and it was amazing, to say the least, yes. And I've experienced Minneapolis Pride, just as fabulous.
Jeff Seibert.
David Coleman.
About 5 years ago, in fact, I had just moved to the Twin Cities, and I was looking for a social group, some people to kind of help me get kind of acquainted with the Twin Cities. And I auditioned and got accepted, and it's been a lot of fun. This is a great group of guys. Anyway, my first Pride actually was in Kansas City, and they didn't have much of a Pride. It wasn't that much. My first one here, usually we do our concerts on Pride weekend, so pretty much all we had done is the parade that they do Sunday morning. That's pretty much all we did. We did the concert, we did the Sunday morning, and this about a couple years ago they moved it to the week before, and I actually started being able to take part in some of the going-ons, the different bars, the thing they have in the park, Loring Park. Friends and people who are going out and doing things. So it's been a lot of fun. Last year especially was wonderful after the Supreme Court ruled that marriage is the law, and it was such a exuberant and such a wonderful celebration for the whole community.
Well, I've been an activist in the LGBT community for years and years and years. And in the beginning of 2012, a good friend of mine who lived across the hall from me invited me to a concert. And I said, you know what, I'd rather audition. And so he told me when the audition was. And one day I went and I got in. And this is one of the most beautiful forms of activism I've ever been a part of, because our songs and our living with integrity as a large group together, being who we are, tells a story. It tells that we are people of love, that we are people who create beauty and art. We stand for who we are without apology. Pride has always been something to me that represents liberation and being true to who you are. And so I always go and I celebrate the biggest way possible in order to honor that.
Jeremy. I've been with the chorus for 20 years this year, actually. So it's been a while. I had friends who were in the chorus back in the early 80s and put off joining for a long time, and then finally joined and kind of just never left. So I drove to Madison when I was 18. At that time, the drinking age was still 18, and I had just graduated from high school and was going to visit a friend in Madison. So my first Pride was not here. My first Pride here was in summer of '83, I think, something like that.
Eric McCool. So I have been in the chorus for about 6 years now. I've been in both the full choir as well as the small group out loud. I, heard about the chorus through friends. I went to Luther College in Decorah and sang in the Nordic choir, and so wanted to have some involvement in music again, and found both the community and the music through the chorus. My first Pride was the day I was born. My first Pride was after my sophomore year of college. I came out with some friends from Decorah, and we had a very prideful time.
Justin. I think this is my third year, and I looked at it at one time prior to that, but I was still in school, decided not to, and then my then boyfriend about a year later kind of convinced me to join. I think I had just come out, actually, like the week before, for the first time to my first friend who had come out to me a couple months prior to that. And I didn't know anything about Pride, and he said, well, I've got the perfect thing for us to do next week. So had fun going to Loring Park and seeing everything they have there.
Catherine, one of the co-owners of Addendum Books in St. Paul. We are here selling copies of David Levithan's book, Two Boys Kissing, as well as his newest book, You Know Me Well, which he co-wrote with Nina LaCour. This is our first time working with them. We're super excited about it.
Kevin Rutkowski. It's hard to remember exactly. It's probably been about 15 years. And we've kept our season tickets even though we live in Austin, Texas for the last 10 years. And we think it's important just because getting a positive gay voice out there in the community, I think it's great, to see something positive. And actually me and my husband just got married in Texas on June 3rd. My first Pride, that was a long, long time ago. It was probably in the Twin Cities. It was I think when it was just on Hennepin Avenue. And it was kind of neat to just see all the people out there and feel part of a community. It was pretty great.
Dee.
Emily.
Roy.
This was my first show, and a couple of friends were in the chorus and
felt really timely and important to be here and just in the arms of the queer community.
This is my third time coming to one of their shows, and same thing Dee said. It's very eventful to be here and to support your community. And I'd love to be here for the next two performances, but I hope that people can, be here, be present. My first Pride was in Chicago, and it was glorious. I went with lots of straight friends, and they got a chance to see fun things. That was the first time for me.
I do, yeah. My first Pride was in Madison, Wisconsin, and I had just helped a girlfriend move there, and we went to the Capitol where they were like asking couples to come and just celebrate, and we thought, great, we'll go. And then we got there and it was like 8 other people, and they were doing a commitment ceremony type thing, and we had been together for like 4 months, and they were like putting rainbow lays on all of the couples and asking them to hold hands and recite things, and we sort of scampered away and we're like, I can't do this, but it was great though. It was fun.
The TC Pride podcast has been a production of Podletter Media and Twin Cities Pride. Subscribe now on iTunes or Google Play and submit your first Pride story at myfirstpride.org.